Oh man, where's our bell? Hold on, there we go. Hello, welcome to Ring Takes, episode 32. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host Brian and Lewis. Thank you guys for joining me as always. Let's get right into with the shits because after our show last week, 2 days after, we had the firing of CM Punk from AEW from Tony Khan, stemming from the incidents from All In, which was just last week, and about a week and a half ago, apparently. But the results of Jack Perry, the altercation with CM Punk, stemming from that, apparently there was a little bit more of an altercation between CM Punk and Tony Khan, and that was the final straw in the final nail in the coffin for CM Punk in AEW's tenure. Apparently, Tony Khan was saying that he was threatened, that he felt like his life was threatened. Other employees' lives were threatened by the altercation between him and CM Punk. A lot of stories coming out from that, a lot of thoughts coming out there from various wrestlers, from Mark Henry, Matt Hardy, who apparently feel like they're happy that he's gone. Jim Cornette has blown a gasket off of this with Tony Khan, basically saying that he wished CM Punk kicked him right in the pussy on that one. Which was wild. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Because this has been a wild turn of events, especially from All In to All Out and everything transpiring, all the reports and stuff like that. What are your guys' thoughts about this?
Man. Louis, you want me to go first?
Up to you. I can go, but don't matter. You can go if you want.
Wow. You remember how I said during our Bray Wyatt tribute podcast that the wrestling industry is like a roller coaster, goes up and down and up and down, up and down. You never know what's going to happen, and then when something does happen, it's either predictable or very surprising, or it came out of nowhere. But this is this CM Punk situation is definitely trending in that direction. I actually want to read what Tony Khan said as far as his life being put in danger. Seeing as that comment that Daniel just brought up about what Jim Cornette says, I have to read. This is exactly what he said as far as his life being in danger. He said, "I've been going to wrestling shows for over 30 years. I've been producing them on this network for nearly 4 years. Never in all that time have I ever felt until last Sunday that my security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show. I don't think anybody should feel that way at work. I don't think the people I work with should feel that way, and I had to make a very difficult choice today." All right, so and it's very frustrating both ways. I'm actually very neutral on the decision because I actually understand both sides. Because when you really think about it, from people who are anti-Punk in this situation, I mean, when you look at the since AEW has began these 5 years, they've only had two really major incidents that were worth attention, and CM Punk was always the common denominator. And I always have felt that I wish there was video or audio or actual firsthand account of what happened instead of all these reports from other sources, from other wrestlers, because at this point we really need to figure out in both incidents whether Punk was the aggressor or not, in my opinion, because I actually think that would make a huge difference as far as all the public perception of him right now. Because as far as being a lot of people who are pro Punk right now in the situation, that's what they're bringing up. I mean, they're looking at all the outside sources and saying that CM Punk was the innocent one here. I mean, with the Jack Perry situation, it was the comment that he made during the pay-per-view. Well, with the Elite, I mean, there was Hangman Page's promo, which pretty much tried to make CM Punk out to be the heel going into that main event pay-per-view in Chicago that weekend. So you see exactly. So you see all this stuff happening to CM Punk, and it makes you think that he's the innocent one. But I'm kind of in the middle on it right now. As far as
where are being the Elite cameras? Where are the AEW reality show cameras? Why haven't we caught any of this footage on television. Nothing.
Probably is. They're just not releasing it.
Legally, it's probably somewhere. It's probably on somebody's laptop, but legally they can't. They can't put it out there yet. But as far as CM Punk's future goes, I know obviously he's a big draw no matter what. I mean, people will still pay to see him, and based upon the news of him getting fired, he is very hot right now. But I was looking this up earlier for WWE. I don't think WWE can really hire anybody right now while this merger is going on. Can they not? Like until this actual merger the merger's not official yet. So
really.
Yeah. I don't think it's not official yet. They haven't. They
need to work out all the kinks and stuff like that, all the fine details. So that takes a little bit more than what the announcement is. Yeah, it takes.
Yeah, because from that standpoint, because once it's official with Endeavor, since CM Punk was an MMA fighter for the UFC, so he still has a good relationship with the Endeavor. So. If anybody would be interested to bring him back, it would be them from that standpoint. Now, from a WWE standpoint, I know Daniel, you had mentioned in the chat about what people like Booker T said, stating that since CM Punk has left, a lot of the comments he's made about the company have been completely negative, and he's kind of like burned his bridge with WWE in order to come back. But you still have Vince McMahon involved. You still have Triple H involved, which honestly, Punk's real issues really came with Triple H. If you listen to the podcast interview he did with Colt Cabana years ago. So, but I like to think from that standpoint, WWE, that they always put money before bullshit anyway. So I'd like to think that Triple H will be able to put that aside and be able to work with CM Punk again.
No,
if it was me personally, and I wanted to bring him back, I would give him a 6-month deal from Survivor Series to WrestleMania and say, okay, if you can be cool in these 6 months, then I'll sign you to a year deal. That's exactly how I would play it. I would only sign him till WrestleMania, and then after that, then determine what to do with him, or if the profit that had been made is good enough for me to even hold on to him. But all in all, a big draw like CM Punk to be fired and to be the top news in the wrestling industry now for another week. Oh man, gotta love the pro wrestling industry.
Yeah, man. Like I said previously, I was one of those people that was super pumped for him to come back and to see how things played out. Again, like Brian said, we don't know. Hey, he could have been the innocent one, and it's just 2 incidents where he was just involved in, that's the last straw. I think there's more to the whole Jack Perry thing, because why would Tony Khan fear for his life if Punk didn't do something or was either saying some shit towards him or acting in an aggressive manner towards him? There's no reason why, if it was just an altercation between him and Jack Perry, why it'd be like, why do other people feel unsafe and stuff? So that's why I feel like, at least with this altercation, I feel like there's way more that isn't being released, which I think probably AEW is definitely keeping the wraps on it. I'm not. The only reason I think it's probably good that he's gone is because if from how big the whole situation was the first time and how it took over everything that AEW was doing, and then again for them to have their biggest international show or the biggest show in general in their history of that company, and it's overshadowed by another incident, it's like, how much more can you take? And what's the common denominator? It's CM Punk, but like Brian said, it's every news source is gonna push the story however they want to push it, whether they like CM Punk, they don't, they're gonna push whatever narrative they want. And that, like you said, the people that are pro Punk, I'm be like, oh, it's bullshit. The people who are not are gonna be like, good riddance. To me, I think for the company is definitely the right move. It's just too much negativity that's drawn away from the product, and that's not what they need. They need to be focused on their show, bettering storylines, bettering everything else, not all this drama bullshit, because it's not bringing good whatever. I mean, all press is good press, I guess, whatever. But I don't think it's doing any good for them at this point. As far as WWE, I don't see that relationship going through at all. I don't think CM Punk and Triple H would ever really work together at this point. You know, as people get older, I don't think they become more sympathetic, especially if there's some really long stemming.
Are you saying old people hold grudges?
Oh, do you guys not know your own parents?
All right, Lewis. How about let me propose this to you. Do you think because remember, Triple H literally almost died. I mean, having the heart issues and everything. Do you think now that he has a more appreciation on life to a standpoint that like he can put some bullshit like that happened years ago to the side because he has a realization now that life is too short to be holding on to that shit?
Not with Punk. I think with Punk it's different. There is, you look back to some of the promos him and Punk would cut, and this man would take little shots at whether we knew if it was how they decided to go about it or if he was actually like talking shit to his face and was like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna punch me on live TV? Like what? But hey, CM Punk was also that good at being a heel and shit. But I don't know. From when Triple H has been asked about Punk, and I don't think they want, like I said, everything they just seen happen with AEW. I don't think they want to bring that into WWE. Yes, it will bring everybody and their mother over to WWE, but the second one thing happens, it's the same thing all over again. And we also don't know how many people are actually going to be willing to work with him in the WWE at this point. So yeah, it's not like he's a young wrestler that they need to put the title on. Like, no, it's. So it'd be like a whole Edge situation, but
I like to think if Triple H and Vince had the balls to bring him back, I like to think that everybody would fall in line and be able to work with him. Because go ahead, Daniel.
I'll say this because about the AEW firing and all this stuff, we're getting all these various stories and stuff like that, and it's just like in all the story, we haven't heard one person talk positive about Punk, which is the alarming part about it, right? And I don't think anybody would. Tony Khan said that. FTR, of course. They had the Punk. Didn't they have the Punk shirts on the Collision?
Yeah, Cash really came out doing Punk's his sign, symbol.
So all that. So there's still some solidarity there between them. So that's the one shimmering bright spot for Punk is that there's actually FTR who people understand don't take no bullshit, don't politic, don't do all that extra shit. So that's the one sign that is like, okay, something here. Not everybody's telling the real story apparently, but all the stuff about Punk in AEW, allegedly people going after him, Jack Perry, Hangman Page, The Elite, all this other stuff. I've never heard anybody saying Punk is going after them or to that degree in that standpoint where it's like Punk is just walking up and saying, hey, fuck you, da-da-da, all the stuff. The interaction from what I'm understanding with Jack Perry was, hey, you did something in the ring that was directed towards me. Everybody on TV knows who it's directed towards. Everyone in AEW knows who it's directed toward. It's directed towards me. It's directed towards me. So, like anybody who has any balls or anybody who's a man, I'm going to step to you and say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Whatever happens after that, escalated, whatever the case may be, okay, that's interaction between two wrestlers, two independent contractors, whatever the case may be. Now, the issue with Tony Khan that I have is just he's not a wrestler. He's not a fighter. That's not his thing. He's a person. He's a promoter, right? Like he's not going to get into fisticuffs with anybody or try to put himself in an angle like that. So for him to say that he feared for his life, depending on how thick skin he has, he could have feared for his life. I'm not gonna sit there and ignore that, right?
Like he saw it firsthand, was like, oh my god.
He could have easily been pushed to the ground, something like that. Other people could have been involved.
Bumped. I was like, oh no.
yeah. So like if other people got involved trying to break it up or whatever the case may be, he has to not only think of himself, not only Jack Perry, who can possibly handle himself or whatever the case may be, anybody else who got involved, a security guard, a desk worker, or anything like that, their lives are now put in that. And now he has to think about those people. So I'm not going to ignore that part of the
that's true.
dynamic of it.
There's
from that standpoint, it looks bad.
Yeah.
Is that something where CM Punk could have gotten suspended or something like that? I don't think that's possible because it's now you're involving other people who don't deal with the wrestling aspect of it outside of like, you know what I mean? Like it's going into HR problems, the office, stuff like that. It's not just you guys battling each other anymore. So I can understand it from that standpoint where they had to let him go. Now, from the standpoint of WWE working with him, I like the idea that Brian brought up. Sign him to a 6-month contract. Hey, from here to WrestleMania, let's see if we can make something work. Let's see if you want to do it here. Let's see if you want to work here. All that stuff about that, completely understandable. I like that idea because, one, it's a short lease. One, you're going to make a lot of money in this 6 months. And now with this possible merger with Endeavor, you can now, if you don't like the wrestling part, you can move on to UFC announcing, doing some type of show with him. I can see that. He's
announcing. Sorry, announcing.
Yeah.
I thought you meant go back into the UFC. I'm like, I don't know.
No. He's not doing it. He's not doing that. No.
My thing is,
I don't want that for Punk. No.
My thing is, like I said, yes, Punk coming back, it would be the biggest surprise ever. But I also don't think it's a thing of WWE trying to bring him in. It's also a thing of Punk actually wanting to even.
Who is a person that has never gone back to WWE? Just think. They mended the fence with Ultimate Warrior. They mended the fence with British Bulldog. They got the fence together with Bret Hart. Like all these people who said to talk shit about WWE, unless you want to talk about Ryback. Ryback is the only person off the top of my head that hasn't come back.
There was one person.
Who?
He never talked to Macho Man. That's
okay. That's a different animal.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Macho Man. Respect to the Macho Man. But if there was anybody with a couple screws loose, it was Macho Man. So I mean, that's a given. Like that wasn't happening. Especially.
But this is what I'm saying. I think it's a matter of Punk actually willing to work with WWE because he knows.
He did WWE backstage.
No, but I'm saying
that fence was mended. That fence was mended.
Not fence was mended.
He was being paid to talk about WWE, but Fox was paying him. That was a Fox thing.
That's fun. That's fun. But WWE had to be like, all right, we're working. That's a working capacity.
Yeah, but that was a very short. Yeah, because it didn't deal with any of the wrestling politics. It was literally just going and talk. You know, that's a whole different animal. You know, I'm talking more in the sense of actually getting on TV, wrestling, doing storylines, whatever. This is the guy who was synonymous with the pipe bomb, talking crap on how like I wasn't even supposed to be here. I wasn't even supposed to be the guy to be put into this position. I had to bombard my way in here to even make a name for myself. And there are people still against me in positions of power that don't want me to succeed. You know, and the fact that he literally stayed away from wrestling for so long is because of that company. I don't think that's something that's, hey, here's whatever, $20 million to come back for whatever amount of time. Cool. I don't think he's that type of person to be like, no, I left this company for a reason. Hey, I tried some new shit. And this is the thing. AEW's majority indie wrestlers who were all against going to WWE. And the fact that he can't even work there to then go back to the main big company that he was totally against, it just doesn't make sense, you know?
I get it from that standpoint. But my whole thing is, if there's money on the table with CM Punk, I'm just saying, dollars make sense. Dollars make sense.
Hey, if he needs it, then yes.
Through all the disagreements, through all the fighting, through all the back talking, I'm pretty sure they can sit across from the table and be like, we want you, you want us, you want to be here. Let's make this work and have bangers. As I always said, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is easily, to me, the match that they need to have at some point if CM Punk was ever to come back. And that's going to be a big money match. It is.
CM Punk versus Cena again.
They can do that. They're both old. Like it could be. They can do that type of match. Like Cena can still go in the ring. CM Punk can still go in the ring.
Like I'm saying, I only see that happening if they literally drop a giant amount of money, and Punk is like,
I don't even think. I mean, I don't know how much wrestlers get paid, and I mean, I think Brock Lesnar makes
definitely
like
more than they did back in the day.
but like, if we're gonna get a short run or whatever the case may be, I think they can do it because there's matches on the table that need to happen, even if it's just a one-off or whatever the case may be. That they're gonna do it. Like, hey, there's the trial run for you. Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. We set up Royal Rumble. You come back at the Royal Rumble. We set you up for WrestleMania. If you want to stay after that, you work with this person, XYZ. You do this, XYZ. We don't know. If you want to get into the title picture, we'll figure out a way to do that at some point. If you want to do that, if it's one last run, whatever the case may be, I think there's just too much money on the table to just be like, no, we're not going to work with him. And I'm not saying that WWE needs CM Punk or whatever the case may be, because I think
they don't.
I think they're in a position where they have enough stars on the card. I think they have enough people to worry about. They still got to sign Drew McIntyre, things of that nature. They have other guys that they can.
Hey, that man. Just saying.
Very true.
Yeah, like it's just. I feel like they don't need him. I feel like CM Punk doesn't need him. I feel like CM Punk can be like, yo, I can see. Think about CM Punk doing podcasting and just talking shit. Add it into that world. Like, that's a possibility for him. Where I was thinking, like, when he got fired, I'm like, he can just sound off on AEW and bury the product, and then AEW can be like, how we're going to respond to him weekly.
And apparently, in the coming days, we are going to hear from Punk, or he's going to respond to being fired.
He's going to be on the lookout for that radio or something. I mean, did they say where he's going to be?
Nah,
I mean, it's going to be.
They didn't say where. They didn't say when.
Whoever gets him to talk is going to get the most views ever.
It's going to be Colt.
We got to get him on.
It's going to be Colt Cabana.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nah, probably Ace Steel or something like that. Somebody that he's close to. As I said, he should start.
Maybe he'll go on talk to Jericho.
Him and Cole are dead to each other right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, I know that was like once you get into a fight about money, yeah, that's done.
Yeah.
When you fight about money and friendship, like, nah, that's done. Once you get into a fight about money, it's over with. But yeah, CM Punk, controversial. We'll see what his next steps is. I'm going to be looking for that interview, of course, as well. And seeing how that break down, see how AEW continues. I think they just came out and said that they're going to the forum for I can't remember the pay-per-view.
A new pay-per-view. It's like,
is it Revolution?
No, it's like Wrestle something.
Yeah, it's called Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be next month in Seattle. So
no, they announced a different show. They announced a different show.
They announced
Full Gear or Revolution.
It might be Full Gear. Come on, stupid phone. Revolution, AEW. It is.
It'll be in what?
Full Gear. Full Gear in November is at the Forum in LA.
Wrestle September, I think. Or no, October.
Yeah. Wrestle Dream is the next
Wrestle Dream is in October, and then the next month is Full Gear.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, so I just saw that. But we'll see how that transpires from AEW standpoint. We'll be looking out for the CM Punk interview, of course, as always.